Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox, and today's video is going to be all about recent horror books, which I can't say that word. I know it sounds like something else. I swear I'm bilingual except for that one word. So we're just going to roll with it. Goodreads came out with a list of the 78 most popular recent horror books, specifically the ones in the last 5 years. They have like a specific definition in terms of like most popular. It's basically the ones that have been put in the shelves the most often. So keep that in mind here. I thought it would be fun just to use this list as a starting point to talk about the best ones I've read or the worst ones I've read. So I'm going to go through the list, let you know which ones I have read, what I thought about them, maybe some of them that I do want to read. I would love to hear your own thoughts, which ones you think I should read or the ones you've loved. And then I'm also going to take the time to mention if I have read other books by the authors on that list that I think might be better or just worth checking out, because even though the list is focusing on the ones from the last 5 years, it doesn't mean that they're the best from the authors I've tried. So just talking about books because it's fall and we want to find some good mystery thriller horror books. So officially the list is called the 78 most popular horror novels of the past 5 years. So I will link that down below. Check it out. Again, let us know which ones we should pick up in the comment section. But like I said, we're going to go through them in the order that they appear. Let's get to it. So the first one that I'm seeing is, unfortunately, Mexican Gothic. To be honest, for me, this one was a little bit forgettable. I feel like I read it 5 years ago, so it's not super fresh in my memory, but I do like the premise of like a haunted kind of house, like people seem to be losing their mind. Definitely Gothic feels. If that's your thing, I feel like I like the idea of that. The Gothic feel more than I end up loving the books from that specific subgenre, but this was one of them. For some reason, my brain, I keep thinking that this is a young adult book, which I don't think officially it is, but it kind of reads like it to me. Main character goes to visit a family member who got married and is, isolated in that house, and like, are people getting sick? You never know if it's like, is it mental illness? Is that the house driving people crazy? Basically Gothic. And I ended up kind of losing interest by the midpoint, and the ending kind of didn't redeem it for me, and it's just kind of a underwhelming book for me. Like, it's not awful, it's just forgettable. Okay, the second one, I feel like I've seen it a lot going around, and it is Hidden Pictures. And I do want to mention that this one you have to read physical or ebook, because I had mentioned that I had the audiobook on my library waiting list. You warned me, you were right, because there were some drawings throughout the book, so you kind of have to see them. I'm not sure how they deal with it with the audiobook, but thank you for warning me. And this one, I was enjoying it until the ending, which seems to be controversial. The average rating is actually quite high, like 350,000 ratings, and the average is 4.16. I know Goodreads can be hit and miss in terms of ratings, but this is kind of high. And you have this woman, she's a nanny. The child, you don't know if they're going crazy or not. Is it the parents? You kind of just get that premise that is common, but I enjoy it. And I almost got a little bit like cozy vibes, because she lives in the backyard in the nice shed, basically. And you know that she has some kind of background. You're slowly, hearing the secrets of everyone. And I was enjoying it until the ending. I don't think this is a spoiler to mention, there's a twist ending, because you need to have some kind of revelation, right? And I had issues with it. I found it problematic, which I don't think it's something that I mention super often in an ending of a mystery thriller horror book. But this one, I didn't care for it, and I seem to have the unpopular opinion. So you might agree, you might disagree. It's quite popular though, so. Next, we have The Institute by Stephen King. I feel like Stephen King comes out with so many books in that genre. There are probably a couple of his books on there. You may like them or not. And this one, again, past 5 years. And I found this one also kind of forgettable. I did give it 4 stars. So, like, I did enjoy it as I was reading it. Like, children being basically kidnapped. They have, like, superpower, I guess. And I remember enjoying it, but I can't really tell you much more than that. So some people are comfortable with reading books and forgetting about them right away. It doesn't tend to happen to me super often, but when it does, it's usually mystery thriller horror. I feel like it's more common with these specific genres, at least for me. But overall, this was enjoyable for me as I was reading it. But like I said, it didn't really stick around my brain that much. I did not realize Bunny was this recent of a release. This one got kind of popular. I feel like it got some hype. A lot of people talk about it more than enjoy it, I think, because the average rating is 3.5, which is the maximum, by the way, that this list allowed. So like, they were kind of critical in terms of last 5 years and popular, but also they had to have 3.5 up, and it's 3.5. So like, barely made it, and 3.5 on Goodreads is really low. It's really low. This is one of those books that you finish and all you can think of is, what the Did I just read? It's just straight up weird. I'm all for weird books. I actually did a whole video on the topic. A lot of them I really, really enjoyed and they're worth checking out. And then some of them are just weird in a bad way. This one, it kind of lost me towards like the end, like the last third. It lost me. Premise wives, you have this woman. She goes to, I think it's graduate school, so it's a small class, and these are the girls are kind of weird, and you don't know 100% at first. Is it her that is judging them harshly, like internalized misogyny or something, or is there truly something weird going on? Like they're all calling each other bunny, so like so that's why you're not 100% sure, and she kinda gets sucked into that cult, really, and things get just too weird. It lost me in the last third, but until then, I was rooting for the story, but it just wasn't a good weird for me, and I mean, the average rating kinda tells you that it might not just be me here. I gave it 2 star because it had potential, but, like, the last I don't know, it was weird. It's a quick read, though, but yeah, really, really weird. I do want to mention that there are 3 books by Grady Erickson on this list, and they're all 3 books I haven't read. I have read 3 of his books, but not these specific 3. So, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampire, The Final Girl Support Group, and How to Sell a Haunted House. So, all 3 are in there, so they must be popular, but like I said, they're all 3 that by him. I have enjoyed the ones I have read so far by him. They tend to be horror, but like almost funny a little bit in the tone. And I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy these when I get to them. But yeah, all 3 I haven't read. And I get the hype. I get the hype. They're not like 5 stars, but they're 3.5, 4. They're fun for what they are. The next one on the list is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I have been vocal about my Listen, it started good with him. I had enjoyed the first book I had read by him, the blue one, and then it got worse and worse and worse. And then I think Survive the Night is one of the worst books I have read on this channel. I've read like about 1,000 at this point. It was very, very bad. And then I tried one more because I'm stubborn, and House Across the Lake was also a flop for me. But Home Before Dark is not the worst one I have read by him. It is a haunted house kind of vibe. You don't know if it's paranormal or not. He tends to play with that, which I think can be fun. This one, again, it was okay. The ending was a little bit of a disappointment, but I overall enjoyed it. I also had issues with the female character. To be honest, I have an issue with every female character by him. They tend to be dumb. And like, there's only so much leeway I can give you with that. Like, if every single book you write relies on the female character being dumb, I'm starting to look at you. Like, dude, why, why? And then this one was especially weird because he tried to make her like a feminist. And like, you know when it rings really wrong? Like, oh, stop trying to mansplain to me when the guy next door is just trying to be nice. Like, it's just weird. But if you want to give it a shot, like I said, it's not the worst book by him. So no hard feelings specifically against this book, definitely hard feelings against the author. So the next one that I did read is Our Wives Under the Sea. This book is horror, but like it's vibes, okay? If you are someone that enjoys very lyrical kind of stories or writing style, and if you're someone that likes when not much happens, the vibes, okay? 100% the vibes. You know what I mean, if that's your thing. And this is it, like literally fiction horror. And unfortunately for me, I wasn't that invested in the story, and the writing style didn't win me over either. It was just kind of a mess situation. I finished it just to finish it. In theory, the premise sounds intriguing. You have this couple, one of them goes into this submarine under the sea and it stays there way longer than planned, and vibes. Just, yeah, vibes. That's all I'm going to say. That's all there is to say. The next book will convince you that I do sometimes enjoy horror books. We have What Moves the Dead, finally one I did like. This one is short. It is part of duology, or at least there's one more book, and I do own it because I'm looking forward to trying it. And this I would call also like a soft horror, a little bit humorous, but it's because the author is retelling the story by Edgar Allan Poe, which we don't care. I mean, you can care about it. I didn't read it. That's basically what it is. But she uses some like funny portions, just making fun of like older works. Like, for example, mentioning that, oh, of course, every woman is like hysterical because that's what we diagnose them with. So like little things like that. That's why I'm saying that it's a bit humorous at times. But once again, Gothic vibes. You have the main character who is a soldier, and they go visit some friends after receiving a letter basically saying that these siblings, the sister is not doing well. She's dying. And when they arrive, they realize that they're both kind of sick. Things are weird. Like, is the house haunted? Is it poisoning them? Like, again, Gothic. That's usually what happens there. And I enjoyed it. Again, quite short. I enjoyed the creepiness of it, but it wasn't like too creepy if that's not your thing, because again, somewhat lighter. And I'm looking forward to trying book 2. So this was good. This I would recommend. I've enjoyed the author in general. They tend to write like fantasy, but this one, like I said, soft-ish horror. A lot more Stephen King, because clearly all he does is write books. Is a certain Hunger good? Because I keep seeing it. The ratings are really low, but I'm curious because of the cover. I attempted to read Imaginary Friend, but I decided to put it down because for some reason I find too many horror books right from point of views of children, and some of them can do it well, like Stephen King actually, but usually I just can't stand it, and that's kind of how I felt about this one. No hard feelings, just not for me. I also tried to read My Heart is a Chainsaw, put it down really quickly. I'm trying to learn to respect that gut feeling when I'm instantly not liking a book, to put it down and just move on. So that's what I did with this one. Again, no specific heart feelings, just I wasn't feeling it. Then we have Night. Be worried because YouTube is a poo-poo head. This one is a lot. It's a short book. It's a quick read. It's a woman that seemed to be losing her mind through motherhood. Like, she just had a baby and she's struggling. And I enjoy that trope in theory. I'm child-free, so I feel like for me, this is definitely horror. Like, she seems to feeling very lonely. Her husband doesn't seem to be very involved. She's trying to, make friends at a library with other moms, and realizing other moms can be a little, when you have different vibes, you have different vibes. So she's slowly losing it. And I think this is being adapted into a movie, I think. Either way, truly horror, but I didn't like the ending. Like, I was enjoying it until you got there. I was like, ugh, I wanted something different. I want something more, but you might feel differently. But yes, if motherhood is something you struggle with or it is horrifying to you, this will make you, yeah. See Another Book by T. Kingfisher, A House with Good Bones, which I think this is one of the ones I just picked up recently, and I'm looking forward to trying it. I've seen Slewfoot a lot. I don't know if it's the cover. It's giving me witchy vibes. Is it worth it or not? The overall ratings are not bad at all. It's like 4.28, but I tend to be a little bit nervous with like historical fiction kind of books. I feel like in general, especially like witchy ones, I go into them really hopeful and I end up putting them down because I'm not enjoying them. So is this one worth it? I feel like I want to say yes. Again, the witchy vibes are calling me, but then we have Lone Women. This is my second book by the author. And honestly, again, the first half was really good and then I lost interest. So I don't think I'm alone because the average rating is 3.71. So probably I'm not the only one, but it starts with this woman who is traveling around the US back in the day. So it's a little historical fiction too. And she has this big, how do you call that? Trunk. This mysterious trunk that seems to be weirdly heavy. And things happen. Like I said, the first half was good, and then I kind of just lost interest. It was too long, I think. So I do have Ring Shout on my TBR. This one's quite short. I have it on my library waiting list, I believe. I've tried a couple of the books by the author and did enjoy them, so I'm looking forward to trying that one for sure. More Stephen King, because my gosh. Murder Road by Simone St. James. I'm actually listening to that one as an audiobook right now, and I would say not worth it. I'm not done, but I have enjoyed other books by her. I have read 3 other ones, so this is my 4th one. And by far the best one, in my opinion, is The Sundown Motel, which might be more than 3 or 5 years old, so maybe that's why it's not on the list, but check out that one instead. She tends to play with timeline, like usually like a murder mystery small town, and usually ghosts. And I say it's not ghost because it's not like Casper the Ghost, but like usually people are being haunted by the people that have been murdered, but it's not like a scary kind of ghost. And it tends to flip-flop between timelines often of like what happened to those people, and I have enjoyed her books, but again, mostly The Sundown Motel, and this one so far is not really worth it. So I'll confirm in my wrap-up at the end of the month, but so far I would focus on the other one. My second favorite would be Broken Girls, just to give you a heads up. A lot of them I haven't heard of. I did read The Invited, and once again, it's one of those that didn't stick with me, which I swear this isn't usually that much of a thing, but apparently the recent ones are like that. And that one I read a little while ago. Let me double check when, because it feels a long time ago. See, in 2019. So I'm not It's almost 5 years ago, so it feels really old to me, and I thought it was just fun. You have this couple who I think they just moved into a house, like haunted house vibes, which again, I love the premise, but it just didn't really stand out. I do have Mother Thing on my shelf. Is it worth it? I saw the cover when I was used book shopping and I was like, ooh, I like that, but I haven't tried it yet. I also have Sign Here on my shelf. I haven't tried that. I wanted originally to read the Book of Accidents, but I have attempted to read in the book by the author literally 3 times. To be fair, the audiobook I think is like 30 hours long, and it's like a post-apocalyptic book, and it starts strong and then again lost interest. So I just never picked up anything else by him. Is it worth it? Let me know, but I'm leaning towards probably not. Jackal. Okay. This one, the potential was so good. You have this woman, she just, well, her boyfriend of way too long broke up with her. So she decides to reinvent herself and goes to this small town to become a teacher. And like, you get the cozy-ish vibes a little bit for a horror book because again, she has her new apartment. She's trying to make friends, you know, create a new life. She meets people, including this woman who like witchy vibes. I feel like everyone seems to know her. Some people seem to love her, but maybe fear her. Like you have those vibes. And it started so good. It started so good. And then the ending happened and it pissed me off. I can happily spoil anything in the comment section. This one I would happily do it too because the potential was here and then the author should have went for it and she didn't. So like the first half, disappointing ending in my opinion, but might worth be checking out if that's something that intrigues you. And then you have Dead Silent. That one I did enjoy. This is a horror, but like sci-fi horror. There's something about deep space that is scary. And you have this group of people, they're on a mission in space, like at the limit of what we know. And then they see this huge spaceship that was lost, I think it's a year prior, with a bunch of like rich and famous people, of course. And they had been on that trip they were supposed to take, and then they lost contact. So they see that ship and because of law, they know that if they are the first people to find it, they can, you know, steal everything on there. It's going to be theirs. So, like, they try to go and figure out what happened. And of course, again, deep space. So, like, things are weird, things are dark. And I've really enjoyed the horror vibes. I do feel like there were truly moments that you're uncomfortable, which, like, is fun for a horror book. So, every time I say it, I feel like I sound like I say the W word. Often with these kind of books, horror book, I'm sure the subtitles are going to say the other word too. My issue is often that you don't get an answer. And like, I don't care what the answer is. I don't know if it's like going to be aliens, ghosts, whatever, like a disease. I really don't care. I just want the author to be an author. Okay, decide, pick, choose, do it. And you get an answer in here, which is like, finally. The only thing I didn't care for was that there's a romance that I thought was unnecessary. But overall, I do think this one is worth checking out. Definitely one of the best ones on this list that I've read. I've seen Jackal a lot. Is that one worth it? It's on my list, but the average rating is on the low side, so let me know. Never Whistle at Night. I just listened to that audiobook and it was good. It's a collection of short story. They're calling it an indigenous dark fiction anthology. And I really appreciate that in the intro, they mentioned that in indigenous culture, they tend to have ambiguous endings. So I feel like it prepared me. So, because I mentioned that I usually don't like it, but I don't think it feels that ambiguous in these ones, and I just enjoy them. I do think it was fun as an audiobook. Again, someone is narrating it. I feel like it really gives you the vibes. I do think they tend to be like grouped together by team, which might be a little repetitive, but overall I really enjoy them and would recommend this book. Again, as an audiobook would be fun too. I do have Incidents Around the House on my list. This one is really, really recent, and I think that that plays into the whole like most popular being just books that were put on people's like shelves on Goodreads. I don't think that many people have read that one. They're saying 28,000 people, but like this was published this year. I will be reading this really soon. I wanted to give Josh Malerman another shot. I had read Bird Box, which became a movie, blah, blah, blah. And I thought the movie was better than the book, because again, the book had an ambiguous ending, which I was not happy with. I did read book 2, which not worth it. Don't read it. But I will give him a second shot, or a third shot, I guess. Oh, see, Mallory is there. Don't read it. It's not worth it. I also have The Eyes Are the Best Part on my waiting list at the library. Again, that kind of shows that the list is mostly about books that people want to read more than books that people have actually read since it was published in 2024 also. So those are kind of the main thoughts that I have. Otherwise, there are books that I was thinking about possibly reading. There is a book by Paul Tremblay, which is Survivor Song, but I read 2 of his books and didn't really care for them. Is it worth checking out more by him? I do have the one about Ghost on my shelf, which I might give a shot because I don't like to get rid of books without giving them a shot, but I haven't been impressed yet. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the list. Not that many books that are that worth it. If I were to recommend to you to pick up like 2 or 3 of them, it would be Dead Silence, for sure. That one was good. And What Moves the Dead. In my opinion, they're the best ones. I could also recommend The Institute by Stephen King, even though I said it didn't really stick with me that much, but I did enjoy it as it was reading it. So it would be my top 3 books to check out. I would love to hear your thoughts on all of the books on this list, specifically the ones also that I have read, because then we can discuss it. Like I mentioned, if there are any sections that you would want to hear more spoilers about, let me know. I can do that in the comment section in a way to not spoil it for everyone else. But would love to hear your thoughts on recent, in the last 5 years, popular books, horror books on Goodreads. I'm always looking to check out more. I always feel like, oh, I don't read that many, but then I look at lists and I'm like, oh, actually, I have read a good amount of them. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Thumbs up, subscribe. I'll put more videos on similar topics on the screen that I recommend you check out. And I will see you in an upcoming one very soon. Bye.